Hey everyone, welcome back to Widget Wisdom. Today we are diving into one of the core principles of programming, object-oriented programming, or say OOPS. Specifically, we will be discussing how Dart handles OOP and exploring key concepts such as classes, objects, constructor, and inheritance. Object-oriented programming allows us to structure code in a way that's reusable, efficient, and easy to manage. If you are building large-scale apps in Flutter or Dart, understanding OOPS is essential for clean and maintainable code. So, what exactly is OOPS? So, OOPS is a programming paradigm based on the concepts of objects. These objects can contain data in the form of fields, code, and in the form of methods. Dart is an object-oriented language, meaning almost everything in Dart is an object, even things like numbers and function. So there are few key concepts of OOPS which Dart follows. First one is the class. So classes are basically blueprints for creating objects. Then we have objects. So these objects are the instances of these classes. Then we have constructors. So constructors are special methods to initialize objects. Then finally we have inheritance. So the inheritance means the mechanism by which one class can inherit properties and methods from another class. So let's start by defining a class in Dart. So a class is a blueprint for creating an object. Let's say here I'm creating a class named as person, and a person class can have a user's name and its age. Then we need to create the constructor for this class to initialize the values of these fields. So here I have created the constructor of this class, and this class will also have a method as introduce. So we will use introduce method to introduce this person. So in this class we will just going to print hi, my name is $name and I'm $age years old. So this thing we are going to print. So in this example, we have a class person with two properties, name and age, and we have also defined a method introduce that prints a simple message. Okay, now let's create the instance of this class. So for that, come to the main function and here create the person p1, assign to person, and let's say assign the name as John and assign his age as 30. Now, this p1 is the object of person class with these specific value. Now, if you will call p1.introduce method, then this introduce method will going to call with the name as John and age as 30. So, now save the code, and here you can see in the console, we have the user details getting printed as hi, my name is John and I'm 30 years old. So in summary, here we have created an object p1 of the class person with the name John and age 30 and then called the introduce method. Now let's talk about the constructor. That what is a constructor? So a constructor is a special method in a class that's used for initializing objects. Dart provides a straightforward way to define constructor. Let's first talk about the default constructor. So when we define a class, Dart automatically provides a default constructor if we don't specify one. Like let's say you have created the person class, but this class don't have any values. So in that case, if we create the object of person class, then the default constructor is going to call because we are not initializing any values for this constructor. Now let's talk about the parameterized constructor. So we have already seen a parameterized constructor in our person class example where we pass name and age when creating an object. Now let's see how we can use named constructor. So Dart also allows us to create named constructor for more flexibility. Let's say here I'm creating a constructor as person, and in this constructor I'll not initialize user's age. So here I'm adding dot without age, and then this constructor will only take name. So here add this dot name. Now add the curly braces and assign the default value for age as 0. Now come to the main method, and here create a new object of person as p2, and then call the person dot without age constructor, and here add the name as John. Now if you save the code, then we will have an error. Yes, because to adding the default value of any parameter, we need to use colon and then the variable and then its default value. So add this way. Now if you save the code, then you can see we have two entries. First one is for John with age, and second one is also for John but without age. So let's say change the name to Johnny, so it will make more sense to you. So now if you save the code, then you can see we have our named constructor and parameterized constructor working together. So this is how constructor work in Dart. Now let's talk about the inheritance. So inheritance is a powerful feature of OOPS that allows one class to inherit properties and methods from another class. It promotes code reuse and a hierarchical class structure. So let's understand this by an example. So here create a class as animal, and this class will have one parameter as name. Then here add the constructor of this class and initialize this name value, and then this class will also have a method as sound. So in the sound method we will just say $name makes a sound. Now let's create another class as dog, and this class will extends animal class. So here create that and then add the constructor for dog class. So here add the name constructor and then add the super and name to initialize its value. Then here let's override the sound method of animal class. So here add override and then add the void sound method. Now here print $name, and this is the dog class, so dog will bark. So add the barks. Now go to the main method and here create the instance of dog, and here add the dog name as Rex. Then call the dog.sound method. Now you can see in the console we have Rex barks. So this is how inheritance is working in Dart. So basically in this example, dog is a subclass of animal, and the dog class inherits the name property from animal, and we override the sound method to provide a custom behavior for the dog class. In Dart, or typically, there are two types of inheritance. First one is the single inheritance, in which one class inherits from one superclass. Then we have multi-level inheritance. So the multi-level inheritance means a class inherits from another class, which in turns inherit from another. Then we have overriding methods. So in Dart we can override methods from the parent class using the @override annotation. This allows us to customize the behavior of the child class. Now let's talk about the mixins. So mixins are a way of reusing a class code in multiple class hierarchies. In Dart, mixins allow us to implement shared functionality without using inheritance. So let's see mixins by an example. So here create a mixin as flyable, and then this mixin will have a method as fly. So add that, and inside this method we will just print flying. Now create a bird class with the flyable mixin and let it be this class as empty class. Then come to the main method and here create the instance of bird class, then call the bird.fly method. Okay, now if you save the code and run this code, then you can see in the console we have flying, because we are calling the fly method of this bird class and this bird class using flyable mixin. So we have this fly behavior. Now if assume a case you want to override the fly method, so you can also do that by adding the @override, and then let's say inside this method we are printing something else, so add that. Now if you save the code, then you can see we have the fly method's behavior according to this bird class. So this is how we can use mixins in Dart. So we have covered a lot today. We learned about classes, objects, constructors, and inheritance in Dart. We saw how to define classes, create objects, and make use of inheritance to reuse code efficiently. Understanding OOPS is crucial for building large and scalable applications in Dart. Mastering these concepts will make your code more organized and easier to manage. So, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insights on Dart and Flutter development.